Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight high up here and the overnight low down here. These are our key levels for the day. I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is this area right here. And now, see, I got 2 BE trades today and a no fill. So I didn't get filled on anything today. Well, I got filled on these, but I didn't, I ended up getting out at break even. And so unfortunately, I was not up anything today. I was at 0 points at the end of the day. Also painful because all of them won. But anyway, I'll get into them as we progress through this video. So anyway, we have this uptrend starting off. We have this break, and then, like I say, price action levels get bigger as more time goes on. At first, you might look at this as a break, first attempt higher right there with that green bar, and then second attempt higher right there. That is technically correct on a small picture, but you have to zoom out and see the bigger picture if you want to get larger trades. You have uptrend, break, and then this is the first attempt at a new high. And then when we get these couple legs back here, rush above the EMA, you can look to enter on that second attempt higher. So it goes from these 2 small attempts to uptrend, break, and then this is your first attempt. You have another break, and then you start making that second leg higher there. And so I liked this area right here because it was rushing above the EMA. We just made this double bottom. We're expecting a second leg, but there is one thing to consider, which is this down measured move and also this green trend line. So we still had this down measured move in play, and so I simply wanted to close out of this trend line to be safe. We had 1, 2, 3 holds on it. So I just wanted to be safe. I didn't want to enter into that resistance while having a measured move in play. So I waited for this bar to close out right here, but then it triggered and it never came back to fill my limit order. And so that was unfortunate. And we push on up here though. We make that second leg, we make a new high. And so now we have uptrend, break, new high. And I'm gonna remove these arrows just to unclutter a bit. So I hope you can see that uptrend, 2 legs back, push up to a new high. And then as soon as we make that new high at the overnight high, we immediately reverse back down. Now, this lower high right here, I don't like it. Even though it's off the overnight high, consider this. We bounced off the overnight high right here, and then the bounce off the overnight high right here was not strong enough to get through the EMA. So what that's telling you is that the overnight high may not be very strong today. Now, of course, it ends up being very clearly strong, but at this point right here, we can't confirm this. When you're in the moment there, you can't confirm that it's about to drop down. As far as we're concerned here, the overnight high isn't strong enough to push through the EMA, and so we just bounced off the EMA. You don't want to enter right into it. Plus, it's pretty clearly up at that point, and so I don't like that. But we do end up plummeting down, and we have this downtrend. And now I was hoping to get like a big picture failed second entry here, kind of like this, because this is basically a big picture failed second entry. I don't know if I mentioned that, but you have this first entry short, second entry short, failure. So I was hoping for something like that here. First entry long, second entry long, and then a failure off the EMA. That would have been a great failed second entry because we would have good context for it, considering we just came off the overnight high, rush down. This is a perfect area for a reversal pattern. Of course, reversal pattern being a failed second entry. And so when we rush above and don't hold, that was unfortunate, but we just continue higher here. Then we start getting choppy, going sideways, and we just kind of move choppy sideways over to the EMA. And so even though we're off the EMA here, we're completely sideways, so this isn't like a good entry there. But we do push on higher here, though. Of course, you can't be totally sure of that before it happens because it's just simply not a good setup. It's completely sideways. It literally has its own range there. And so we push on up, and then when we get this plummet below the EMA, that's when it's clear that we're attempting the second major leg down. So just for the bigger picture structure here, we have the uptrend that has a break and a new high, and then so the uptrend has played out at the overnight high, immediately leading into a strong reversal, and now we're starting to get that second leg down. So this is pretty expected, and I don't like this long here though. I know that some might have taken this as a 2 legs down, except once again, this leg right here is a lot smaller compared to this leg right here. And then this support isn't really confirmed at that point. It's confirmed after we like push up here. But at this point, it's not like you're off of significant support. It's a strong rush below the EMA. You could very easily tick higher and then get a smaller, like say from here we have one leg, you could easily get a second leg, which of course on a big picture would just be a continuation of one leg. And so, we can't be so sure that it's going to continue on higher here. It just rushed below the EMA. But at this point here, you get a second attempt down. So now that you have these two legs down, basically acting as the bigger picture second leg down. So we have this first leg down, break. We're starting to make that second leg. It has this, you can view this as the first attempt to reach the measured move, and then we have the second attempt to reach the measured move. And then you can kind of look for a failure entry. Look at this support holding, just a triple test right there. And so basically, once again, going through this, we started making that second leg down there, but this measured move is also in play, so we can view this as downtrend, break, first attempt to reach the measured move, second attempt lower. And so then we push up from there. And then, like I say, price action levels get bigger as more time goes on. So we're going to get into this second leg right here, the way that it reacted there in a sec. And so this right here, once again, clear support, rush above the EMA. I figured that we would at least retest this swing up here. I had this possible range drawn out. But what happened was we ended up getting very choppy in here. And once we were all the way, in this area right here, forming this bar, this is when I got out at break even, because this chop fits so well with this over here that I figured it, we might not ever get through here. It could just turn back down and try to reach this larger measured move, which is still technically in play. Even though this was a failure entry, it was stalling, and I knew that on a bigger picture, it's going to likely come back into play. Just like how at first you have this first attempt higher there, second attempt higher there, a little bit more price action forms, you can clearly see that this whole thing is the break, first attempt there, second attempt there. Similar kind of concept. We had this measured move in play, we had two attempts to reach it, you can enter on a failure, but as more price action forms, you're still likely to get another bigger picture attempt at it, in which it ends up happening here. So I just want to point that out. And the reason that I leave this here is because we have this measured move, and then this was the start of that measured move, but what ended up happening was we pushed up, made a double top, and then pushed down, and that's actually very common with these measured moves, is you'll start the second leg, retest, and then you can move it over, and then that's where your second leg really is. But anyway, so we pushed lower here. It ended up reaching my target, which I was out at break even, but it went up to my would-be target before turning back down. We started the second leg right here, very strong push down here. We have this break, and then we get this second entry short. Now, for this downtrend right here, we have break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower. But once again, we have to look at the bigger picture. On a bigger picture, this is just a second leg down, and we can continue this second leg down even after this is broken, because once again, on a bigger picture, it can break and still be part of the same leg. This whole thing is one leg right here. So I like the second entry short with the big measured move in play. Very strong signal bar, closing below the EMA, strongly below the EMA. I really liked this. So it was, you can also view this as a failed second entry in order to reach a larger measured move. So there's all sorts of reasons to want to go short here, and I do think this is a good trade. But consider this, when we got this bounce here that was clearly connected to this previous bounce, they bounced around the same area, and so there was some kind of support right here, and usually I don't mind pushing it a little bit into support if I have to, my target. But in this particular instance, it ended up having a very strong bounce before my target could get met. And so when we rushed above the EMA and when we closed above the EMA on this bar, this is when I started trying to get out at break even. And so I ended up getting filled once we pulled back, and I got out at break even. And we had another leg higher, but we did end up pushing lower and filling my would-be target. And so we didn't quite reach that measured move here, but we did clearly start going sideways. We have these lows right here. We have those highs. It's clearly in this range. We broke out, nearly met it, and then we had this fade higher here. Unfortunately, I don't like any of these to fade because, well, for one, the very first bar is just completely blocked by this. But then also, you're not off of any support anyway. So you're not off of support, and you're not off of this measured move. Now, this measured move levels act as support and resistance. So we could have gotten something if we gotten down to this measured move here. But unfortunately, we just didn't reach it. It's not off of anything. So even when we close above right here, or excuse me, close out of this trend line here, I just can't take that. It's not off of anything. If we had reached this measured move, then, we could have gotten something. But anyway, we push higher here, we fade a little bit, and then we break back out. We get a little bit choppy. And so what could happen is we could just reverse from this area. It's starting to kind of form a reversal pattern. We got this first entry short, second entry short right here, and if it pushes lower, we could get a failed second entry to go higher. And so, it'd be a good fade for this range. Also considering the 2 legs down, once again, measured move not met. But if you get a good reversal pattern with 2 clear legs down, then it doesn't need to be met. So we'll see how this holds. I might stick around a little bit longer to trade for a while, but so I might post on the side a little bit more. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Hope this video helped out in some way, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.